everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Thank you for spending a few minutes of your time here with me on my channel. And yeah, I know it's been a while since I've really uploaded like a non-compilation video of some sort. I'm not sure if I'm going to upload more videos or not. Upload more videos in the future. But, you know, there are some topics I want to talk about, particularly as it comes to, well, being an entrepreneur. I still do entrepreneurial stuff. I just don't make as many videos about it because basically, unless it was Uber, no one cared. But what the heck, I'm kind of pissed at an eBay buyer right now, so I'm going to share this story. So I sell a Cowboy Bebop limited edition Blu-ray. Now, this is not the most hard thing to find in the world, I will admit, but it is frustrating because I sell this item, someone gets it, and then they tamper with the item, and then they expect me to take it back. And if you've ever dealt with one of these eBay people, you know who they are, and you know why it's frustrating. So the guy sends a message, "Good afternoon. I received the item today and was disappointed to see that the item was severely damaged, smashed in from the back. I prefer to contact the seller first in circumstances such as these." Well, okay, thank you for contacting the seller first. I don't know why you bothered when you had no intention of, discussing the issue with the seller, which is me in this case, in good faith, but whatever. So the first thing about this right off the bat is that there were no pictures that were attached. So of course I asked, "I'm sorry to hear about the damage. Can you please provide pictures of the damage so that we may assess our next move?" And he sends these pictures. Certainly, as you can see, the case and the cardboard or the card holder are severely damaged. Well, look, a card holder is frankly not that big of a deal. The case itself, I wasn't sure if that was the case, so I said, "Hey, can you please send pictures of the outer box?" And he shared pictures. Now, in these pictures, he showed that, okay, there was obviously some damage to the back of the box. But there's another thing about this item that I'm noticing, but I don't bring it up right away, and that is that the item has been opened. He bought a brand new limited edition Blu-ray of Cowboy Bebop, and he has opened it. Well, I sold him a new item, now it's used. So I figure, well, look, if he opened it, he probably wants to keep it and all that jazz, because, look, if you noticed the damage before you opened it, you probably wouldn't open it. So I say, all right, that's not good. Would you like a partial refund for the trouble? Now, in response to this, he says, "I see why the item was face down in both of the listing pictures." Well, okay, I know what that's trying to insinuate. This guy is trying to insinuate that I purposefully hid the damage of the item, which I did not. It probably did get damaged in transit, if this is even the same item. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I don't take kindly to that. So I respond, "Look, I'm offering to work with you, but you won't get very far if you're going to try and accuse me of deceptive practices. Because if the back was dented when it went out, it would have still showed in that second picture. It was likely damaged in transit, and I'm willing to work with you on that. But being hostile when I am trying to make things right won't work in your favor. Now, how about I refund you 10% plus the shipping for the trouble?" Which, that's close to $20. I think that's fair. I mean, it's not like the discs are damaged. It's not like the other items are damaged. The cards themselves seem fine. He's only complaining about the card holder and the back. I think this is a fair offer. Now, his response is, "Nothing has been done to trigger an emotional response. I am stating facts from the information I have available, which in this case is the listing information and description. That is all I have to go off of." Okay, so he's getting defensive that I am pointing out that I am taking offense to him suggesting that I am doing this deceptively, that I put these items up and shot them in a way like I didn't show the sides and everything. And by the way, I guess technically speaking, if you really want to cover your butt, you can take pictures of the sides and everything. I typically don't, because it's like, look, if the item is brand new, if it's sealed, I'm going to show the front, I'm going to show the back. Sometimes I'll show the top, but to take pictures of all 5 or 6 sides, it's a little much for me, but you can do it if you want. So I respond with the quote that I took offense to, and I said, "This is an accusation that I was trying to hide damage to the item. That warrants a rebuke. If you want to accuse me of shady practices, then the conversation can be over. Or we can focus on what I can do to make things right. it's up to you. Now, this is where the guy responds and he shows a picture of the order saying a partial refund is not feasible for this circumstance because I am not simply returning an item I no longer want. I have received a damaged item that was listed as brand new. This same item had no description detailing it as defective. Well, and that's probably because it wasn't defective when it was sent out. Heck, the item, we don't even know if the item's defective. Like, he hasn't tried the discs, or at least he hasn't claimed to have tried the discs. He's just not happy with the condition. Well, this is where I unfortunately have to pull something up. I point out, well, your pictures also show that the item was opened, which is against our return policy. Since in your pictures you are showing the outside of the case being damaged, that would have been noticeable without needing to open the item. People who have received items that were damaged in transit typically email me the pictures without opening new items, as those I can either accept a return or offer an exchange. Well, I wrote and, but I was supposed to say and. Since you did open the package, we can no longer accept a return as media can be copied. This is standard return policy for all stores that sell media that opened items cannot be returned. So since the damage would have been visible on the back of the case, you should not have opened it. Therefore, I can offer you a partial refund if you would like. And by the way, this is true. There are copyright laws that essentially say if someone buys like a piece of media, whether it be a DVD, a CD, a video game, and they open it and the discs themselves are not defective, then they do not have to accept a return. Now, some might say, well, why don't you just offer to exchange? Well, because he's not asking for an exchange. He's asking for a full return, full refund. Can't do that. So anyway, now his response, and this was like very interesting. Yes, my child has opened the item out of excitement that he would receive the item he wanted for his birthday without any issues. I handed him the package as soon as it was delivered. I was unaware the gift would be significantly damaged. I figured because the seller's feedback was positive, there wouldn't have been any issues. I have been using eBay for 4 years and have not had any issues as a seller or a buyer. I am sure you can understand my skepticism of the matter. Now, let's talk about this second thing first. Usually they will say, when they want to try to convince you that you're in the wrong, it's like, I've been using eBay this long, I've never had an issue. That's probably not true. Especially if you're a buyer and a seller, you're going to have issues. I deal with several issues a year, and I'm not even the most high-profile seller. I have a couple stores, but I am not the most high-profile seller out there. But the thing is, you will deal with issues, and I doubt this is the first issue. He's trying to guilt me into this. But then there's the other problem where he says that his child opened it out of excitement. Well, at that point, you have basically given me reason to doubt that the item was damaged in transit, because it's like, okay, you handed it to a child, something this item was not made for. Did the child damage it while he was opening it? I don't know, but I do know this. It's opened. I sold you a new item. You're trying to return something that is not as described. If it had been brand new and damaged, I could definitely accept it back, but because it is not new anymore, I'm not accepting it back. I just am not going to do that. So I respond, while I can understand your skepticism of the matter, it does not change the fact that the item was opened. Opened items are not defective, and to be clear, a slightly damaged box does not qualify as defective. Even if you handed the item to a child, which, on a side note, why are you giving a child an adult anime that was made for collectors? I'm going to just comment on this. Cowboy Bebop is very much an adult's show. I remember, my dad took me to see the movie and was surprised to find out it was rated R. Very good show, classic show if you've never seen it, but this is not a show for kids. Most people even discovered it on Cartoon Network's then new, at the time, Adult Swim block. So I don't know why you would be giving your child something that you spent upwards to $100 on. So anyway, you would have noticed the damage on the outside based on those pictures unless the child grabbed it out of your hand, ran out of the room, and opened it before you got a good look at it. And on another side note, I don't think the child would have cared if it was damaged, but whatever. And there are copyright laws that give stores the protection to not accept opened media. Now what has happened is unfortunate. Had the item been unopened, I could have accepted it back. but regardless of the circumstances, it has been opened. It is therefore not the brand new item you bought that I would have been happy to accept a return. However, it was opened, so I don't have to accept it back. Another thing I can do for you is send you a free item from my store up to a $20 value for the inconvenience. This is not something I am in any way obligated to do. It's just to show that I'm trying to make the situation better. Now, I did not get a response from him for most of the day, and the response, of course, was that the guy filed a return request, and instead of saying he just wants to return it, he claimed that the item was not as described. And so as a result, my funds are on hold. Now I'm given two options. I could either give him a partial or full refund and let him keep the item, or I can accept the return back. Well, I'm obviously going to offer a partial refund, and in the description, in my email, I am going to point out so that, because I know he's going to escalate this to eBay. He's not going to accept this. He's going to escalate it to eBay. Someone at eBay is going to look over it, and I want to point out to the eBay person, oh, quiet girl, that's my pug Lilo, that, look, I sold a brand new item. The guy has admitted that his child opened it, and after it has been opened, now he wants to send it back for not being as described. And here's the thing. If it was brand new, the other reason I could be kind of strong-armed to bring it back is because you could make a case that it was damaged in transit. But once you open it and you take everything out, who's to know that you're not just, opening it, sucking it for some of the collectibles, and then saying it's not as described? Heck, who's to say this is even the same item I shipped? Maybe he got his old item damaged, and so he buys a new item, and then it's like, oh, look, it was damaged, so I need to return it. And you say, well, why did you open it? Oh, my child opened it. This is for your child? So, yeah, that's where we are right now. I've offered the partial refund. I put the statement in there that you opened the item by your own words, therefore it is not the same item, and I don't have to accept it back. The guy is probably going to escalate it on eBay, and we'll see what eBay does. And that's where I will, what girl? That's where I will give a follow-up video. I'm actually kind of leaving this on a bit of a cliffhanger just to force me to come back to the channel next week and give you an update video. But first of all, I do want to put the question out there. Am I in the wrong? Should I have just refunded the item? Girl, come on. Come on, girl. Let's, you have to make things difficult for Daddy. Would you have accepted this back? Do you think I'm in the right, or do you think I'm in the wrong? Maybe there's something I'm not seeing. I would love to know, but whatever your reasons are, comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and it's been a long time since I said this. As always, flame responsibly. Have a good one. I suspect your cute face is a defense mechanism because I want to kill you sometimes.